Sanjib, to you, again, the same question which I asked Lawrence, what are the two major regulatory reforms that you believe has enabled fintech ecosystem? Maybe global example or perhaps Nepal as your example.
I mean, if you look at the the advent of how exponentially like this, particularly fintech has to some extent I feel is glamorized, right? Because of the payment part of it that is digitized, right? So I mean, as a career banker, I mean, I started with Stancy in early 90s. So from my perspective, like fintech is always there. Right? It's only that in the later stage that the payment is digitized, and that's what the glamour came, right? So, and the regulator do not want it to stay away from that perspective, and with the push from the regulator, actually, if you look at, all these, the reforms, mainly the policy infra, the most of the proactive regulators, they started early on working on the policy infra. The act, as Lawrence rightly pointed out, in Nepal is no exception, where we had placed in all the policy acts that was a part of the Banking Act reform to accommodate entire payment system, right? So we have a full-fledged PSD, Payment System Department in my country, a separate payment act into the country. We have a national payment strategy into place. And right now, the Nepal as a country, central bank is working to have fintech strategy in place. Now, the evolving from fintech, the journey to the from payment to the fintech as a journey, because and then digital lending, P2P lending, sandboxing, all these thoughts are already rolled out by my regulatory into the country. CBDC, we are piloting 2026. One of the few countries in the world, so wholesale CBDC. So these are the key reforms. So I believe, it's great that some of these central bank helping the entire ecosystem of the fintech by trying to catch up with the new trend. And we get rid of now generative AI and the disruption that is AI is bringing. So this new wave of reform would be required, particularly. And besides all this, what I have seen globally, the nation, for example, India could be one, perhaps Thailand is one that comes to my mind. The countries that working from the top level, political level on the DPI structure. So, I mean, the power of the DPI, if you look at it from the, three key components within the digital public infrastructure, from the CKYC to payment rail to debt access platform, and blend it together, right? And the kind of the power that it can generate, I think few countries, I think the trend would follow. The DPI as a strategic pillar to support the, because you can't stop the the wave of digital economy fueled by the fintech and the digital payment automation, but eventually you'll have to, and the AI, right? So this is where I would see the global trends that I see. The AI would be one, the DPI is another right now, and then you throw in all your digital lending, like unified lending interface into that, or maybe a digital marketplace, or even ONDC kind of stuff, right? That's amazing. Another disruption that came from the, government. So why we needed all this is to make it agile, lightweight, asset light kind of stuff, reached out to the last mile, right? So this is where I think, Maria, the
no, absolutely. Is. I make up. I note the point of DPI and AI you spoke about, and I think then the next thing, perhaps, maybe we as India have scratched the surface on DPI piece. Other countries, maybe global south countries and all, they would be looking into DPI as a place where they can, same subject, but for you it's innovation and emergence of inclusive use cases. That's like with the collaboration.
Right. So, I mean, I'd like to share a live case that I witnessed just few months back at 4,000-meter altitude. If you know Nepal, we are geographically blessed. I feel my country is one of the most blessed and most beautiful and most magical country in the world, right? So I would encourage you to visit. So I was trekking, I'm a high altitude trekker. So I was trekking into this place called Upper Mustang. It's in another country within a country. If you have heard of Mustang or Google the Upper Mustang and make your next bucket list. All right.
So I started my journey from Kathmandu to Upper Mustang. To my delight, each and every payment from Kathmandu, the capital city, to 4,000-meter Upper Mustang was digital.
Wow, that's good. That's
Really
good.
We must celebrate this with the support of central bank and my fintech companies. The Nepali fintech companies, to be very honest, are the world class. Maybe some of them are sitting here. We export close to $500 million worth of software technology to the world. And out of this, large amount is of the fintech technologies. Nobody knows about this. Nepalese are only exporting the people or labor. No. We're transforming ourselves, recreating our identity, reinventing ourselves, and actually it is unofficially, it is about $1.5 billion worth of software and fintech technologies we are selling. The Nepalese fintech companies are rolling out the solution in Tanzania, in Ghana, in Cambodia, in Myanmar, in Bangladesh, in so many countries. Anyway, but a regulatory reform that you asked me would not have been possible before last year. Last year I was at Everest Base Camp, and before the advent of digital payment, how it was. All the trekker like me would go into this trekking route, pay in cash, and this trekking, say the hotels and the resort or whatever the tea houses would have to charter helicopter to bring the cash in, stored in sack. Look at that. The technology, the enablement and the inclusion, to the last mile, so everything that has been made possible. Another aspect I really would like to do from the innovation, as we see the growth in the digital payment, we also face a challenge. That is mainly on the, you talked about data security side, but the cyber fraud has increased. So I think from the cyber fraud perspective, that is as we, we have to do collectively something both on the, the regulator, the community, the engagement, and all of that. I think, Maria, that is where I will do.
I like that thing of you carried cash for, helicopter. That
right. And the next exponential, I think you're, okay. Next exponential is the cross-border. Think about India and Nepal with a 1,400-kilometer long open border, and we have had this relationship in roti and beti for the ages, right? For the centuries. These two countries have the relationship in roti and beti, from the Mithilanchal to, all the way to West Bengal. So now roti, beti, and bhugtan.
Wow.
With the UPI. So next time, and also let me also play a brief commercial because I represent Fintech Alliance, so like to play a Bigyapan here, is the FinTrek. There's a FinTrek. If you are interested in September, October, we have a FinTrek to Annapurna. So anyone interested in trekking with a FinTech people, do contact me, or our president, I think he is here, our FinTech member in this room. So reach out to us. We'll take you to the heaven and bring you back in place, not in a box. All right?
One last question to all three of you all. Last question, in the interest of time. It's a genie question, my favorite question. What is that one thing, desire you have, you would like to witness in your space through this collaboration of fintech and central bank? One thing you look forward in 1 year, 2 years. Rosanna, through you, start towards it, every country. Tell me, Sanjib.
Well, from my perspective, I think where you can bring central bank and fintech companies together is two words comes to my mind. First is, of course, considering my economy, all right, dignity. Second is the empowerment. But then how would collaboration between central bank and fintech companies would bring that dignity and empowerment? From my perspective is, a sachet size loan. If shampoo can come in a sachet, loan should come in a sachet size, so that I can bring dignity to these last mile people who does not have to go and ask for the loan or need money, to their loan sharks or to elsewhere. And the empowerment and the power that the technology can bring in rolling out this sachet size loan into, let's say, $5 or $10 and $20 as and when they need it, at the place they want it, right? The kind of the empowerment and the dignity that we can offer these to the women's and the underprivileged and the underbanked and, the last mile people would be just awesome. In absence of this platform, in absence of this technology, in absence of regulatory regime, these people at the bottom lines are resorting to the loan sharks, compromising on their dignity and the self-respect, and feeling humiliated and kind of stuff. So I think that is the power of central bank and fintech companies coming together to address the dignity and the empowerment for the last mile through sachet-sized digital loan right when they need it, so they can save the dignity and empower themselves.
Thank you, Sanjeev.